Echo do actually quite well against Rumble once he can get to Spectre's cow.
Yep.
But when we're talking about who has the pushing lanes, they actually have done
an insta-locked misfortune.
something really weird. I don't care about my last point.
This is an insta-locked misfortune.
Support MF.
What the fuck is this?
Yes, it is support MF. Support MF is super strong in poke. I wonder if it's AP MF.
Or is it support Ash?
No.
You've seen both of them played in the past. So,
20
support
seconds.
MF was a huge thing before they obliterated the damage on Max E, because that was the
It has to be support MF. Support Ash sucks.
And support MF is great, right?
That surprisingly works. I wonder if he's spell
20
thief.
seconds past support MF.
It is support MF.
Yep.
Karma mid.
Karma mid. This means 3 pushing lanes, absolute power, early game power spike. Imagine a dragon fight with MF ulti on your support and then a Rumble equalizer. This is so fascinating.
I'm just still shocked by the fact that support misfortune is being played in the semifinals of the World Championship. I don't care if someone tells you to pick a meta game champion. When you're Gorilla and you're fighting for your tournament life here against SK Telecom T1 and you say, hey, it's time to play support misfortune.
Yeah, with Ignite as well. I definitely want
Krepo and
to...
I are so happy right now, but we're also desperately trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen. The Spell Thief is very easy to proc with the Make It Rain, obviously. You get incredibly early shove when you go E on the Misfortune and Volley on the Ash.
So there's a couple of things that speak in favor of a Misfortune. The passive works very well because obviously once you switch targets, you get added damage for a single tap. You can get that tap off by E-ing first. You get the Spell Thief Spark right there. That's all 3 Spell Thief Sparks already, plus 24 gold. More importantly, specifically in the Zyra matchup, she spawns a lot of plants, which puts her at risk of actually getting double up by her own plants. Because very often she hides right behind them. It is minor, it's only base damage. This is a very early spike. And more importantly, once you hit 6, Wolf
And
has
look at
flash.
this. Wow, forcing an early flash out of Wolf with the chain slows.
Once you hit 6, it is so easy to get blown up. It takes 1 arrow into a Misfortune ultimate plus Ignite, and you're just dead.
Yeah, not to mention you can layer the Make It Rain on top of the Ash Arrow to give longer time caught into the damage over time. So a lot of things could work, but we also haven't seen it because it can be very vulnerable when you're running essentially a double marksman bottom.
And then there's one more interaction, then I'm done ranting. When Zyra opens up on a snare on Misfortune, she can actually answer with the ultimate, because by the time the Zyra ultimate pops up from the floor, bullet time's already done. It's about the same second, it's about 1.5 or 2 seconds channel, which means you can actually just blast Zyra in the face whenever she goes for you.
3 seconds long is bullet time. Stranglethorns takes plenty of time. Even after the cast animation, you'll get a lot of damage out. Gorilla running ability power quints for more Make It Rain damage. It scales off AP.
Yeah, already
see Rox pushing.
Regardless of what support was going to be in this lane, they would yield the push. This is not a surprise. We need to look at Peanut. What is he going to do with this early information? And was he spotted out by a ward early on? Doesn't seem like it, even though SKT had quite a few members there in the river.
Yeah, and Blank did a blue buff start, skipping Gromp to very quickly go to his red buff because he doesn't want to get killed at his buff by Peanut. Peanut would have to take a very peculiar route to be able to get to him at this point. So at least very early in the game, Blank is able to get his clear.
Yeah, both junglers got a leash. So
Nice
they
hawk shot,
started.
they just found him at red.
Yeah, because they knew he had a leash on top side too. This is totally expected here. SKT likely have a great idea of where Peanut is on the map as well.
Yeah, and Krepo, you and I also talked about how much these teams can do with a deep ward early. One of the benefits of this Ash pick is you get a very quick look of a ward deep in their jungle when you send Hawkshot through. And now that they saw Blank there, they can infer so much information about the rest of the game.
Yeah, double up Blank. Look at it. Faker or Kuro rather has to lean to the left side in mid.
Ghost burn by Blank.
X.
Lands a slow. How much more can they get? An empowered W to heal him back up. Kuro's okay, but Faker lands a bunch of damage. Nicely traded in by SKT's mid laner.
And we saw Duke in the top lane as well immediately push out because he knows the Olaf path to the bot lane and he can't walk up unless he shows up. Right now we have Peanut going for the reactionary top lane camp. No more camping around bot lane passive 2v2s with range supports. Peanut is setting up for the counter gank on top lane.
Not to mention, Blank burned his Ghost in the mid lane, so if this counter gank does arrive, there's no escape for Blank if they turn on him.
2 versus
They should
2.
go straight
How
on the
far are
flank.
they go in? And it's going to be
They
for
get Duke
Duke
dead.
first. Look at the damage onto him. Nothing to do at all. And he's going to land the Sonic Wave for a quick punch in the back of the head.
The audacity of Blank to get a gank off mid and then run straight up top without knowing where the enemy jungle is, that is a major mistake you do not make against a team like the ROX Tigers.
And you have to blame both Duke and Blank for that one, because if it was going to be a 2v2, they were going to straight up lose it. That's now 29 CS to 10 in the top lane.
Smeb acting beautifully. Should be on Broadway.
Yeah, right into the brush. Makes it super easy. Duke chases all the way in blind. You can't do that at this level.
And again, this is the power of information. They spotted Olaf on the red buff early. He knew he spotted out. Both these teams know they cannot gank double range support bot lanes. It just doesn't work in League. So the only reaction for Blank left was a gank mid. It was great. But then instead of farming more, he ran to the top lane, peanut lane waiting, and honestly, this is a mistake from Blank. Don't go for those plays.
Yeah, not to mention they can now give the early blue buff over to Kuro. He hadn't necessarily been pushing Faker in early because Blank made the visit with Ghost, but when he gets this blue buff, goes back to base, this will be the 3 pushing lanes we talked about, and it allows Peanut complete freedom to try and go and make plays.
This feels like the perfect ROX Tigers early game. Smeb's on a carry. He's ahead. Peanut's ganks worked out. Kuro's fine in the mid lane, gets a blue buff, but now it's turning a little bit sour. He has to flash away from Blank. That upsets what was looking almost perfect before. Still a lot of winning elements here for ROX Tigers.
Yeah, Kuro was waiting on the right recall timing. I would have liked to see him go back a little earlier, get a little bit more immediate power and punish with that blue buff, but now he's a little bit delayed in his power.
But it's okay in the sense you can lose your flash when your jungler supplements your lane with vision. You can lean to one side, lean towards Peanut, and save your shield. And that's the only lane he can gank here. Smeb is relatively safe. Kuro no flash. Look at Peanut. He's protected by Kuro. Kuro protected by Peanut himself because there's push in the bottom lane as well. If this is Scuffle, Gorilla on his support AP Misfortune will arrive much sooner than his counterpart. And that's the power of these pushing lanes.
And look at that, Peanut. He already took the Raptors away. He's taking the Krugs out as well. But now it's a flash engage. Faker wants the blue buff back, and Kuro stayed mid for far too long. But now it's Peanut maybe staying too long. The root is perfect by Wolf, and it's now turned around. And SKT pick up 2 kills.
And it is so hard to punish SKT, but that is also total disaster thus far.
Smeb,
ROX is trying to make it up. They have double TP. Kuro could come as soon as he responds as well.
Gorilla's a bit low. They got the slow on the Wolf, and there's the equalizer. Flash, heal used as well, but he's got the harpoons. He's got the kill, and Wolf is hunted for his skin. Bang now under the turret, and Smeb really wants this one. Puts the fire to the backside, and that's a kill for Prey. Now Smeb, how does he get out? Prey's gonna die to the turret. He's dead. Oh my gosh. I guess they live.
For now.
Oh, Blank is coming. One Olaf, a
No,
single
he can't
axe.
run in by himself.
Let's go.
He's
Be a man. Get him, Blank.
Kuro says no.
That play is successful with the kills, but it takes so long. Look at the lanes for SKT. They're pushing back. Watching this one more time. Double TP, trying to get in on them. He lands the harpoon post-flash, which makes sure that he's able to secure that kill. Then they just look to speed themselves in because the Karmat back at the turret gives the rest of the team some speed, and they just go straight into the second-tier turret and get him out too. Look at this.
This is
teamwork.
Honestly, this is good communication. To pull that off on world stage, to go for that bounty of a play instead of just letting him die. Because imagine if you fumble that play. That's such a big mental hit right now. And they didn't lose that much because they pushed up their lanes adequately before.
Would you actually trade? I guess you'd trade those 2 summoners for a kill?
I think
it feels weird.
You just want to get him back in base ASAP, have him back on the road. Really don't want him to die right there. Don't give more power to the bot lane. They're starved as well. This is a 40 CS tier Ezreal, 20 CS down, no summoners. If you visit him one more time, he's dead again. You just really don't want to give him any kills.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before he can actually get to some powerful items, and the teleport cooldowns really aren't that long in that context. You can already see Kuro and Smeb have the ability to make a double TP play. They're always going to have that lane shoved. They're hoping to get deep vision within the red jungle of SKT, and I absolutely think that's their game plan, is to try and dive that lane over and over.
And the pain point is about to happen. Once Prey and Gorilla, look, they're parking this lane right here. They're done pushing. They want to hit level 6 and then have the zoning threat of a Misfortune bullet time after that E. Because you E on Misfortune, you slow him down. It's the easiest arrow of your life to hit. And then, like, Prey doesn't even need that. Like, he can hit any arrow anyways, and then
Yeah.
you just follow up with your ultimate combos and they're dead.
And keep in mind, as you mentioned, trying to tower dive champions, there's now a TP advantage for SKT. Duke has it, Smeb does not. Kuro cannot match either. His teleport is down, so SKT can pile drive bot lane, generally speaking, easier, assuming all else stays equal. And it's something that ROX should have to play around.
And I love the emphasis Peanut is putting on these Scuttle Crabs here. Safe ward over the wall. Look at it, he doesn't face check to get the optimal ward over in that little brush right there. Safety and face check super important. He gets the Scuttle Crab for his bot lane, which means they can play safe and play aggressive.
Ash arrow.
Big arrows land on the Wolf, and it's just going to be too much damage, too fast. Teleports be damned. Who cares? A 2-on-2 kill for the ROX bottom
How do
lane.
you beat Zyra? Poke! You outrange it. Blast of Misfortune, make it rain, arrow in her face, she can't escape. There is nothing Wolf can do because the summoners got blown earlier in that double TP trade.
And specifically, they held the lane on their side, so by the time they hit level 6, they would have access to SKT. Beautiful play by that ROX duo lane.
Yeah, it's chipping rather the turret down afterwards, flank goes in.
Gotta be real careful.
He walked in to grab a Q. I guess he's all right with this one. There is not that much threat. Spina had his ulti after all.
And they play it beautifully. They amass the wave on their side, let it stack up, and then they use that massive minion wave as they go for an aggressive play. If it works, they poke them out of lane and they get free chip damage anyways on the turret. This is very coordinated ROX Tigers.
We also have to point out that they're running a support MF, a mid lane Karma, and a top lane Rumble. They don't have the insane late game scaling. This is the type of aggressive play they're going to have to continue to make, and they can't have those mini plays where Peanut gets caught in the jungle or Faker gets a solo kill onto Kuro. Those things can't happen if they want to snowball this game.
Yeah, that's why you see those 2 teleports in the bot lane. They want to get that tier 1 tower down ASAP so they can unlock the Infernal Dragon. They want to keep taking these bigs here. That's how you, in the current meta, can draft an early game team. We know real late game is you just stack objectives. You get 3 dragons and a Baron, and then you beat whatever power disparity there is in gold or in scaling.
Yeah, and how many Infernal Drakes are we going to see in this series? This is now 4 out of 5 dragon spawns have been Infernal.
It feels a little scripted.
We knew this was going to be a fiery matchup. Peanut, Papa Smith, he's talking about him spitting fire before this game.
He was alluding to it. We wrote him that line. That's how it works. And the cutie pie was right all along. Prey's going to crit next attack. All right, that's good.
Bang right now, 68 CS. He is down over 30 right now in this matchup, and he is constantly afraid, and he can't actually go QSS early in this matchup. We saw it in the previous one with the Caitlyn. Ezreal already has a build layer in the tier built in, so he can't go for an early QSS. So the next arrow from Prey is going to be a potential threat for a flash burner.
Yeah, and the kill distribution for ROX is also super ideal. Having 2 kills onto Prey already. When we talk about them not having spectacular scaling from the mid lane and jungle position, Ashe with the mid lane Karma can actually be a very strong late game hyper carry, and he's well on his way, not only with the 2 kills, but also because Bang's build is so delayed, and the ability for SKT to deny farm on Prey is extremely low.
We have to switch the narrative a little bit though and look at SKT as well. How did they get back here? They have some things going for them. Duke is hitting the breaking point of this matchup. When he gets Merc threats in addition to that Spectre's Cowl, he will actually start out trading Smeb.
He's doing it right now.
Peanut's Blank's actually coming up here to try and get a dive, maybe.
And it could be the turning point. Smeb has teleported. He needs to use a teleport on the map in a 2v1 or 1v1. He is losing.
Has Flash, has ulti, decides to ult the wave and say it's only Blank who can chase me, but that's still a ghostable Olaf, and that requires the Flash out of this one. Not much turret damage going to be had because the ulti. So does the best he can.
Another pain point for ROX Tigers is Faker in his mid lane. He is towering up in CS as well. That's exactly why Peanut is pressuring. This tier 1 tower is so important to take down.
Ooh, splits the uprights. No kill to be had, but it does mean a lot of pressure on this turret. Peanut's going to stay there for a bit more damage, but Prey actually switches back to hitting minions. They will need at least 1 more wave. The question is, how good is Bang and Wolf's wave clear? They burn Stranglethorns on it, and he is going to do that to try to buy a little bit more time. Ooh, and here's the flash engage. Peanut flashes to land the Q, and now it's Wolf on the wrong side. He's spacing out. He can land the kick if he needs to. That's all the damage they need. Wolf goes down. He saves his summoner spells, and it's also the first turn of the game going to ROX Tigers. That is a 3,500 gold lead, short up slightly by top lane, going down. SKT finding some movements back in, but it's ROX ahead a lot.
And it adds to their game plan. They're going to keep the 5 people down here, trying to get as much power right here as possible, then transition that squad to different lanes after they can secure the second tier turret. However, they are losing turrets on the rest of the map as well. Top lane is gone. Faker well on his way to chipping down that mid lane turret.
And total turret damage gained that actually might be in favor of SKT. The question is which breakpoints are landed, because first turret is obviously a whole bunch of extra gold. It was also a completely finished second turret on the bottom lane as well, so it is an immediate influx of gold, but Faker will answer back mid lane outer, so really the only major difference is the fact that the first turret gold itself and that kill was handed over. It still cost Meb his teleport, and it still cost all of that farm in the top lane that he did not get his Duke pushed in.
But there's such a stark contrast in scaling in these two team comps, something we haven't really seen this Worlds, where there's such a distinct early game or mid game spike on ROX Tigers and much better scaling on SKT, almost unheard of in the current meta.
I absolutely agree with you right there. And having two turrets down in the bottom lane this early creates another very peculiar situation, because will Bang be able to get the farm, or will ROX be able to completely ward up that side of the jungle and starve out the Ezreal even longer? Because these are the things that are going to dictate this game. Whether or not Bang and Faker and Duke can hit the late game point before the ROX Tigers completely gain control of the map, take all the outer turrets, and starve out the game.
We see another reason why taking down those 1 or 2 turrets is so important, because then ROX can switch to a 1-3-1, especially playing double teleports on the side lane. They can move into the jungle, make picks.
Wolf is caught. There's all the damage. Make it rain. Bullet time's there as well, and Wolf does get a slink away, low on HP, but that's 2 ultis down.
Mid push, bot push, poke. This should be a Dragon Star here for the ROX Tigers.
Yeah, and I'm actually very surprised that the ROX Tigers haven't taken Dragon yet, because they actually opted to take the second tier bottom turret instead of the first Infernal Drake, which kind of means they don't care about what would be the late game power of what the Drakes can stack up, because they would theoretically be thinking pre-35 minutes. They can take it now, but it is a little bit delayed if they're looking to really stack them for late game.
And honestly, what's been keeping them from taking the Dragon has been the vision SKT had and the pressure Faker had in the mid lane. He has been pressuring on this Victor. He got a solo kill after Flash was burned. Right now, there's also TP advantage for Duke.
Rumble caught Faker.
Drake secured, and wow, Faker's just going to die at the outset. Only one knocker for the Strength of Thorns and Prey. With a nice flash, gets away from the Echo. Duke is out of this one. Wolf also gonna burn down. It's Smeb just on a killing spree on this one. Blake gonna get chased out. A beautiful equalizer, synergizing with Peanut, and now Duke's got nowhere to go. He's alone and running out of health way too fast. There's another kill picked up, and it goes on to Prey. 9-2 ROX Tigers.
What a fight for the ROX Tigers, and Smeb found the pocket of vision where SKT couldn't see them, and SKT walked right into it, which is incredibly rare from SKT, who is normally a very measured team. But Smeb getting to open with Flamespitter in melee range of Faker completely changed the game.
ROX completely set it up as a bait. They start the Dragon there, and how do you beat teleport advantage? Well, you simply walk down. Another arrow, good shift by Bang. You simply walk down to the objective. Smeb completely surprises, just like Jack mentioned, out of Fog of War. Nobody expected him to be there. All eyes were set on Duke in the flank. Look, suddenly he unleashes on Faker, low mobility champion of Victor. Nobody on the side of SKT was ready for there to be a rumble in that brush, and then it all starts collapsing downwards. ROX Tigers really leveraging their lead in the bottom lane, opening up the map that way, and then safely committing to the objective. They didn't start it until they were absolutely sure they could win that fight.
Yeah, and you can just notice the domination of Smeb in that fight. He killed both Wolf and Faker with 2 flame spitters and 2 cycles of his harpoons. Then he had the ultimate afterwards to try and help with the 3rd kill. That is exactly the mid-game power spike they wanted. Notice a supportive build by Kuro as well to try and supplement Prey's 3 kills.
I like the items coming in, because how many times have we seen support Karma competitive? Literally never? Great. So Gorilla finishes the Ice Stone really rapidly. It's funny, he's earned so much more money off of that than Wolf has. Zyra's notorious for how much money she gets from a Spell Thieves, and it's literally double the amount of money that Gorilla's earned from the triggers, because Make It Rain is so free. But then also, whoever has gone first item Executioner's calling on support. Well, turns out dealing physical damage in an AoE to apply grievous wounds, pretty useful against Olaf and Echo.
Yeah, there's already 900 gold on that support item for Gorilla, just by continuously making use of those passives.
Literally.
Literally
making it rain. It's perfect. How have we not thought of this before?
Right,
The theming bonus is real.
as a support.
They want to steal this.
Ooh, no, it's going to go to the blue team. That is SKT. Blank gets out with his life, and I believe he is the one wearing the buff as well. Eagle's going to go up to the side. Can he land the kick? No, Duke jukes away, and now Peanut's out of health. SKT with a beautiful disengage. Nicely played.
And even though ROX has an extremely large early game advantage, it's mistakes like that that could cost them the game if they keep making these things. That's twice now Peanut is overextended.
It is the nature of their style. They continuously go for high tempo, high aggression plays where sometimes there's a risk of failure, but over a large sample size of these plays, it generally works out for them. That's why they keep sticking to it, and that's why nobody minds them going for these plays. But the matchup like SKT, they gotta keep committing and delivering.
Duke heavily injured. He's also got all the healing debuffs on him, but his health bar holds up long enough, and Wolf's able to zone the rest of the team away. But it's still a huge wave coming into the top lane. The shields are there, so he tank it up, and that will be another turret picked up. This will be the 4-2 turret scoreline, I think, here for ROX Tigers. If they can hold on with this wave, they are getting shipped down, and yes, they will have to wait it out just for now. The stun's not going to
Really
let
risky.
out, and oh, Duke is rooted. He can't ult in time, and Kuro's getting the kill credit, the turret as well. Look at the lead, 5,000 ROX Tigers.
Duke didn't even have his ultimate. Why was he going in right there onto his parallel convergence? But they are going to try and set up a play on the bottom side. Peanut,
Oh, he knows.
trying to run forward to get out.
Running left. He's got Swifty boots because he has something to jump to. There's a ward.
It's really hard to catch Elise Sin here.
Well, he's faster than Faker, and Prey's arrow, it's a zoning arrow. Makes Faker turn around, Peanut gets out.
Makes it out somehow. He knew the gank was coming here, and most importantly, the tower's not chipped because the wave has disappeared here. So SKT kind of skirmishing for kills, but they're not taking objectives. ROX always tie their kills to objectives right now. That's why they're amassing such a large gold lead.
And it's going to keep going. It's interesting because SKT has actually opted into fighting more than, honestly, I would have expected. If we're talking about a ROX Tigers comp that's going to get outscaled, I think Infernal Drake or not. And SKT's like, yeah, we'll fight you for Drake. Ooh, 4 for 0, maybe not so hot.
Because the setup looked so good. It was a complete teleport advantage. Like, if you're a pro team and you see a TP ward in pristine position, you have TP advantage on an Echo, on a flank, on 2 low mobility targets like an Ashe and a Misfortune support, out of all things, you just gotta go and pull the trigger, and that's why it was so impressive that Smeb snuck in at the right time.
Yeah, now we really get to see if ROX can close here on a giant stage because they are up 5,000 gold. We know they're on a timer. They have Prey set up to get the picks with Ashe Arrow. They have Smeb on a massive 2-item power spike, and they've already taken down one of the interior turrets for SKT. So it's the mid lane and the top lane that they need to be able to get next. But to do that, they need to get vision control, and they need to get their waves pushing.
Yeah, but if SKT can fight back, it will mean so much for this series because this is the largest gold deficit at 20.
Oh,
Faker!
Faker with one of the worst flashes. He needs practice tool. Down he goes. That's going to be a kill for ROX Tigers. Off the arrow cooldown. Bang tagged as well. Not much more.
An incredibly rare missed flash there from Faker, and that sets up a powerful push by ROX in the mid lane. Faker's not there to wait clear. They have to try to do this with Olaf axes and no Ezreal ultimate.
Ooh, big chunk on the Wolf as well. For a supportive build, Girl's got plenty of damage. Scorpio helping. Force for the kickback. Oh my gosh, that damage. Yeah, that is when you go Hexfinger on Lee Sin. It feels pretty good. Mid lane turret's gone.
Yeah, the momentum for ROX here, it's very palpable. They have a really rough early start to game 1, but they fight their way back in multiple times in very creative ways. Then they come out with the support MF and start swinging here. Look at Faker. Everybody in Twitch chat would have landed that flash.
Oh, goodness. He was trying to flash the big wall because that corridor itself, with the angle of the Ashe Arrow, he wasn't finding a good way to flash it sideways, but a rare moment of panic and a wasted flash there from Faker.
Another dragon here. We missed that, but that's another mountain
Mountain,
here.
yeah.
The RNG is definitely working out for ROX Tigers. They're getting objective-based or scaling-based dragons continuously, and that's what they need. That's like the dream for early game comps like them.
I mean, talking about it on a statistical level, Infernal Drake is actually best when you have a gold lead. It on average means less if you're behind, but absolutely now ROX Tigers feeling good at the 6,000 gold lead. More stats ahead, of course, and if they ever go for an objective, they'll kill it pretty quickly. Peanut, once again, going to find Blank, who's just shipped down by the early magic penetration. Speb lights him on fire with a harpoon. That's painful as well, and ROX Tigers getting pushed in a bit, though.
Yeah, notice how SKT is trying really hard to get vision control over the Baron area. And with Mountain Drake, that's exactly what ROX would want for a 22-minute Baron. If SKT is just to concede the Baron, they probably lose the game. Because 6,000 gold into a 4,500 gold Baron power play opens up an inhibitor and gives them a 10,000 gold lead. That's the game. So SKT is actually in a very dire situation in this match where they have to fight an early game team who is in the midst of a power spike, 22 minutes, to contest the Baron that ROX is going to try and force.
And then we need to look at how can they do that. And the only way that seems conceivable is, honestly, ROX overreaching, which can happen, but it's unlikely given the way they've played so far. There's only been minor overreachings from Peanut. The other way is a TP flank from Duke. And to set up a TP flank, you need a lot of deep wards. But if ROX play it well, that possibility will be eliminated. And that makes it incredibly hard for SKT to walk into this comp with a Rumble and Ashe and Azira.
I agree, and I also want to talk about the Rift Herald that SKT got for Duke, because they're hoping that they can stall this Baron long enough by having good pressure in the bottom lane from Duke with the help of the Rift Herald, and then just delay ROX as much as possible, or force them into an odd number fight. Or if they can get division control when ROX sends 2 people for Duke, then they could potentially get a pick. These are the few ways that SKT could stall, although ROX Tigers clearly in the driver's seat.
Definitely in a driver's seat, and also playing much more to their identity, you know, putting a carry on Smeb, very early aggression, mixing an early game aggressive jungler with strong pushing lane zero. It all ties together, and ROX get rewarded for their choices as well here. Complete surprise here with the Misfortune, allowing the Karma finally to be flexed. So often we had Karma support. See this duel.
Another battle. Duke should feel pretty good fighting Smeb. Equal level. He's kept up with that one pretty well. And Smeb not even fighting during the overheat. Just doesn't want to punch for that extra damage. He knows he's going to lose that trade.
Yeah, 0-3 Echo versus 4-0-4 Rumble. Still wins the duel. So it definitely tells you so much about the matchup and how there is still a timer on the side lane. And if there's one matchup that you want to win, it is always the side lane pressure one in competitive league.
And it's twice in a row now that SKT have picked top lane second, found a matchup that seems to be pushing better later on as the matchup unwinds. And it's the price ROX paid in Champ Select for saying, hey, we're going to hide this Karma as a flex. We're going to pick top lines so we can hold it for a little bit longer, and SKT get the counter pick, and it's paying off at least a little bit.
And I can't stress enough how important it is that ROX can close out this game for their chances in this series. They've pulled out the surprise. They've had a great early game lead. And if they were to somehow fumble this and allow SKT to come back and go down 2-0 after seeming like they had SKT against the ropes, I can't imagine them actually winning the extended series. So ROX Tigers definitely have to grasp the opportunity in front of them right now.
Yeah, 2 blue trinkets burned there, but the face check wasn't punished. They need to be in a position where they blow up the first target that they see. And also, Smeb just wants to join with teleport. That's what we're looking for. If you are the ROX Tigers right now, you want to rob any of the vision in the river. But the problem is, their setup is just inadequate. They don't have enough pink wards to accurately make it work. They need more river pinks. Just sweepers is not enough. Instead, they're going on the offensive. That's defendable.
And it's actually, I think it was Faker who was able to land the last hit on the blue buff. I thought I saw the gold over his head. And yeah, even the contest for blue buff is not working. The side lane has no pressure. Duke is winning that. The mid lane is not getting pushed in because it's an Ezreal and Victor. They wave clear for a living, basically. And ROX aren't getting a lot done.
Messy plays. ROX right there. If that axe comes a second earlier, 2 of them base, 2 of them get caught. That's a Baron loss right there. Their Baron setup that they committed it so hard, multiple members there, was just done poorly.
Yeah, you look now, SKT still has pretty strong vision within their own jungle, which is where they could get caught. And there's no turret here for Kuro.
The top side, pink wards go down for the teleport. What else can they get? Kuro trying to heal up in time, and he can't blank, gets the shutdown, he gets the kill.
What's Kuro doing there? Why is he there? He's pushing a side lane with no river vision. He just had 4 of his teammates back in that brush, if not 3. This is another mismatch of ROX. They're losing their late game finesse.
Absolutely, and that's the second time Kuro's been in a bad spot right when it seemed like ROX was going to take control of the whole game. There's very early on when ROX got a bunch of advantages, Faker solo kills him in the mid lane. Here, everyone else recalls while SKT actually has decent vision control, and he not only dies, but burns his flash while dying, which completely diminishes the pressure he gets.
Arrow on the Bingo. The damage is here. He's able to flash away in time, but it's still Peanut on the chase. Gets a kick back, but doesn't quite get enough for it. That is still Bang missing all of his summoners now. A reveal, and ROX Tigers hoping to take control back to the top river.
Yeah, but Smeb didn't go back to bot lane. ROX want a hard force because there's no teleport on Smeb. They may even just commit to the Baron. Yeah, no teleport on Duke, rather. And they're going in because here's Kuro with his teleport.
Smeb a bit low, takes plenty of damage, but has no equalizer to cast either, and the Make It Rain doesn't do much.
This may be the moment. They burn Faker low. He's out of summoner spells. They have Smeb here. Duke would be running in. They either need to get a pick here and multiple kills, or they need to secure the Baron because this gold lead continues to shrink. ROX trying to go right now.
And they're on top of the Scuttle Crab, so this information is known. SKT looking for the play. Faker coming back in, and the other 4 right here. Smeb is low. No ulti on him. No arrow just yet either. It's Flank popping the ulti. 1,000 health on Baron. What's it going to be? The shutdown of the Olaf, and it's secure for Peanut. The re-engage for Faker. He's gonna pick up one. So far it's a 4 versus 4. Baron buff still on ROX. Prey dodging away from the CC, but he could get back. He could get shut down, but he trades it back, and Prey stays alive. Duke makes the big play, shuts down the AD carry, but he will get kicked down, and he will get picked off. 4 for 2, and the Baron secure for ROX.
The instantaneous communication, realizing they could turn this fight. So many teams would have just left Prey to die, but they realized they can turn it around.
And ROX Tigers knew they needed to go now. I love the focus when Blank tries to move in for the first steal. They all go to damage Blank before the Baron can be in smite range. And from there, Faker goes in. This is the moment you're talking about, Kreppel, where they recognize they can turn it around.
I mean, they could easily secure 3 buffs here. Prey flashes defensively, goes for stun, and turns like... This is so unexpected to get out of that fight winning. Shouldn't be possible. What a great call by the ROX Tigers.
They knew they had the early game advantage, and they've had some slight missteps throughout the mid-game, but that Baron, incredibly crucial in their quest to try and win this game. They've killed most of the outer turrets. They have to push in for inhibitor turrets here.
And again, it was by a really good decision by Smeb to not match bot for bot, even though both teleports were down. He knew Smeb burned, or he knew how to Duke use that teleport earlier on the pick on Kuro. When the Echo was in the bot lane, Smeb just joined the fight, basically telling SKT that they were playing 4v5 on the left side. That's why ROX was so brute forcing on certain plays, almost seemingly overextended, because they always knew they had a 5v4 and they didn't have to kill. They just had to wound, send them back to base, and then go for the aggressive Baron. Really well thought out by ROX. This is a play that started minutes in advance.
Just like the previous game, it's still ROX on a bit of a time.
Oh, he killed him.
Outscaled is still there. Whoa! That's all the damage. Peanut needs mid inhibitors down as well. 5v4, keep on going.
Peanut just exquisitely sin play right there, burning the Arcane Shift with his first Sonic Wave and then killing him on the second one. That was just perfect, and it's exactly what ROX needed to continue to push in.
Dirty plays by Peanut. Back in his element. He definitely shook off the game 1. That was an arrow expecting a minor juke on reaction from Faker. Faker shook off that failed flash.
Quick wave clear comes through. That wave is gone, and with only a cannon, it's not even a turn off backdoor bonus, so not a lot of gains to be had. Blink even smites it away for good measure, but the new wave is coming in 5 seconds.
And that Baron play seems like it's turned the corner for the ROX Tigers to allow them to try and push in and close this game. Bang still dead, still have Baron buff. They push SKT off the turret, and they
Blink
go.
is low. They want a little bit more. That Olaf's going to run away. Pops the Ragnarok. Smed's going to be careful. Pops Zonia's to stay alive, and it's an inhibitor down. Duke is on the chase for Prey, though. Getting what damage he can. Ults back for plenty of damage, and ROX Tigers are dangerously close to death. It's going to be Kuro falling. Duke trading his life for that one, and Blanks around the flank. He can get the slow. They've caught up Smeb, and Gorilla has to just run away. That's a pretty clean 4 for 0. Beautifully done, SKT.
And just when SKT wanted to turn it around, they came up with a huge play, and that just began with Duke pulling off a wondrous combo to start that. And ROX, to be fair, weren't respecting the respawns, but most likely they let Duke get behind him as they were diving.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. The only way SKT win fights is with flanking. Look at the zone from Parallel Convergence. He forces everyone to step forward into the Zyra, into the Ezreal. Bang! Faker and Wolf are untouched here, and what a beautiful ultimate there from Duke.
He still had the Guardian Angel at the end of the fight as well. Faker was able to just chase at the end of the fight. Blank sticks around from the side of the wall to land axe after axe, and even though ROX Tigers pulled off that great Baron play, the gold lead is kind of forfeit. We're back to about 1,000 gold different than what it was before ROX even got the Baron, and SKT will still have a chance.
They absolutely do. 5,000 gold difference, not the worst to be had. You just saw the end result of Bang running up the map and stealing a red buff at the end result of that team fight, knowing there's no contest, taking everything he possibly could, like stealing a red away, getting on an Ezreal, feels really good.
And we gotta look at the wardrobe now, because Duke is looking for a repeat of that scenario around the next Infernal Dragon. That's the one that's gonna spawn. Both these teams are already setting up for the Dragon.
Yeah, setting for Dragon, but also making what plays they can. Peanut was in a pretty dangerous spot, but thankfully wasn't really spotted. Still got an Olaf chasing, though. He could get surrounded.
ROX is in a really weird position right now, though. Prey and Gorilla are both shoving the top lane, so SKT know that ROX can't get the backup.
This is going to be dangerous. Peanut's going to keep running. Wolf's going to look for the... Oh, not going to get the root, but the Strength of Thorns will land. The kickback doesn't mean much to Blank, and that should be a kill onto the ROX Tigers jungler.
But he's just buying time.
Yeah, pushing the bottom side. This is what SKT is trying to punish. They're going to get the inhibitor.
Gorilla putting down 5 damage huge auto attacks, doing what he can to keep mid lane alive because top and him has been killed, and they even got the pick off on Bang.
ROX doesn't actually have to stop pushing right now. If they can delay the recalls
The arrow!
with Ash arrows,
Look at the arrow!
Get teleport!
He's gonna stop it! He's stopped Duke, which means they can push. It's now on Wolf. It's a teleport coming in for Smeb and Girl. How much more can be done?
They
As
want
it's
to
played,
win right
trying
now!
to tank. Wolf running out of health. He's gonna die off. Onto the turrets they go, but the minions are gone, and it's too much. SKT are here to defend. This is a difficult 3v2. Pushing down Duke, down below 1,000. Ults back on towards Prey. Push back yet again, but Smeb's running low. But they get it. It's on the Nexus. They're trying to burn it down. Is this not gonna be enough? It's not. ROX Tigers answer back with game 2.
I love this series. Back and forth and back again. ROX Tigers looked like SKT was going to be able to bring it back on them, and by pushing from the middle of the map all the way through to the Nexus, the cross-map Ash arrow to interrupt the teleport, the chase kills as SKT tried to fumble back for the defense of their Nexus. Unbelievable manner in which ROX finished that game.